Hello, everybody. I hope everybody can hear me okay. My name is Raina Seipels. I am one of the LEA representatives here in the United States, and I will be moderating this webinar about doing business in about the USA doing business in Latvia. Go through a few technical things first, and then I'll introduce the rest of the panelists. The webinar is being recorded. There will be a link. It'll be posted up on business.gov.lv very soon. Plus, also Liva Ratzen, our administrative host, will be sending a link to this webinar to all of you probably early next week, as Latvia has holidays the next 2 days. But she'll be getting it out first of next week. Also, at the very end of the presentations during the Q&A. Liva will send a short evaluation page for you to fill out while you're listening or participating in the Q&A. That way we won't have to do that at the end. And I know you're all quite busy, and 2 hours out of your business day is a long time. So we respect your time and want to make sure we stick to the schedule. But we do appreciate if you would take the time to fill out the questionnaire or the evaluation as we strive to improve these seminars and webinars that we give. So we can obviously make them worth everyone's while. So thank you very much. And then segueing into basically our agenda, I'll be doing the first presentation. I'm East Coast based. My colleague Toms Vidrich, who's based on the West Coast, will be doing the final presentation. But my first one is going to be is essentially doing the general presentation on Latvia's business environment. I'll be followed by my colleague in Riga, Mr. Raivis Aikens, who works in the Foreign Direct Investment Department, and he'll be talking about various success stories of investments that have been made in Latvia. He'll be followed by Mr. Vladislav Stankiewicz, who's the deputy manager of the Latgale Special Economic Zone. Latgale is the eastern third of the country of Latvia that has seen a lot of new business activity because of the work of Mr. Stankiewicz. The fourth presentation will be by Mr. Emil Sudyunnikov, who's the CEO of Longgenesis. I apologize, Emil, if I mispronounced your name. And his will be he's a success story by him, giving the experience story of entrepreneurship in Latvia. He'll be followed by Mr. Robert Edmonds, who's the account manager with the Accelerators Advertisers with Meta. His presentation will be why Meta chose Latvia as their advertising manager, their online advertising manager in Latvia. And then last will be, as I mentioned, Mr. Toms Vidrich. He's head of our representative office in the United States in San Francisco. His presentation will be regarding remote staffing or outsourcing, which is right for your technology needs. Also, we will have the Q&A will be at the very end. Obviously, as we're moving through, if you'd like to type questions into the Q&A or into the chat, we'll sort of accumulate those and then go through them in order once we go into the Q&A. If the Q&A goes longer, obviously we can stay on as long as we'd like, as long as we have it. We will try to wrap this up by 12 o'clock noon Eastern as best we can. And with that, I will start the first presentation. Give me a second to share my screen. Oh, where did it go? Sorry. Apologies for the slight delay. As I mentioned, my name is Raina Seipels, the Investment Development Agency of Latvia. Representative, I'm Boston based. Initial introduction to Latvia, 64,000 and change square miles or square kilometers, approximately the size of West Virginia, with a population of Nebraska, or also just as a measuring stick, the size of Lake Superior. It's the capital of Riga, population of 1.9 million. Official language is Latvian, but we'll talk about this later also, but there's a lot of, most of the population speaks 2 or even 3 languages, mostly being obviously Russian, as well as English now is very, very common. Currency is the euro. They are EU member as well as NATO and the OECD. They have an S&P credit rating that is A+. This is a major accomplishment considering the economic damage done in the 08 to 2010 recession. And it's been very, very efficiently, the economy has been very efficiently managed since then, bringing us to a very nice credit rating by both S&P and Moody's. Moody's rating is A3. Foreign direct investment into Latvia. The bar graph on the bottom shows the cumulative foreign direct investment since 2010. As you can see, it's been climbing. Obviously, it did slow here during the COVID period. A nice jump from 2020 to 21. Last year was still did advance, but was rather slow. GDP growth was quite robust before COVID. Obviously, 2020 was a bit of a rough year because of that, but we did bounce back quite well in 21. Last year, even despite the war in Ukraine and all the other effects of the inflation, we did manage to grow at about 2%. This year, we've got a moderated growth projection, hoping for better, but we're still looking to be on the plus side by at least 0.5%, maybe larger. The major foreign direct investment countries are listed on this chart here as well. Obviously, we're looking to attract much more from the United States. The United States has, I believe, several $100 million invested in Latvia currently by a number of companies, Accenture, Cabot, and other firms that have established global business centers there. But of course, Sweden, Estonia, Lithuania, Germany, Denmark. These are all very logical because they're very close neighbors of ours. But we're looking to really expand this relationship with the United States. That's one of the goals of this webinar, is to plant some seeds for folks looking to make a move or to make an investment. Exports. Latvia has an export-driven economy. Roughly, I think almost 2/3 of the economy is export-based or export-supported. And these pie charts illustrate what the major products are. Obviously, wood products and machinery are still a very large percentage of this. We've got additional food products, etc. Exports by country, where they go to. Obviously, our 2 closest neighbors, Lithuania and Estonia, are large, but we do have quite a bit going to Germany, Sweden, UK, etc. The Russian piece obviously now has gone away, pretty much almost 100%. But we've been able to pick up slack in some of the other, whatever was lost there has been picked up in other markets. Again, we do export a lot of high value items to the United States currently, mostly machine parts and food products, along with also some very high value wood products that are being shipped to the USA. But also we're looking to expand this by quite a bit. We believe that the USA market is ripe for products that are produced in Latvia, and especially if we can attract American firms to invest and manufacture there or export services from Latvia back to the United States. The service sector portion of this actually is quite significant as well. So, and also our export growth from 21 was 29.3%. Although there is a qualifier, this is not inflation adjusted. So the inflation tap worldwide has grown that number, but we did see some baseline, as in quantities being increased in most of the product categories, not just monetary inflation, but also quantities. Well, both internet infrastructure and high ranking. I mean, we've got broadband coverage of almost 94%. Share of households with internet access is at 91%. Probably even a bit higher than that, but it's hard to always ascertain that. Second, as far as per capita usage of broadband, 10th in the EU for digital public services, meaning pretty much all the paper forms and waiting in lines and all these kind of things have been eliminated. You've got e-signatures where you can do business documents, legal documents, all kinds of things online with secure signatures. makes things very, very efficient. And also just kind of a bit of a fun fact here: 23% of the specialists in the internet IT sector in Latvia are female. That's almost twice as high as the European average. So, well, this is what we always used to say: inclusive, innovative, and digital. Latvia is very diverse, digitally advanced, cost-efficient country to do business. We were ranked in 2021 by Bloomberg as number one in innovation in the Baltics. We're very proud that we're a very strong competition from our Lithuanian and Estonian brothers. But we came out on top in that year. I haven't seen what the latest rankings are, but they probably are. We're probably all in the same fight. So, number 2 in international tax competitiveness among OECD countries. Very proud of that fact as well. I mentioned the EID for signing documents, etc. Access to 120 government services makes doing that part of it, the administrative portions that are required by government and elsewhere, much easier to do. Also, another fact we're very proud of: the highest number of women inventors, and that's based on the European Patent Office data. So it's very, in a sense, sort of a blended workplace. Women are in executive positions, and they're inventors, engineers. They're in all positions throughout the economy and government. And number 9 EU benchmark for government efficiency. So, oh, and our crown jewel, Riga. This is it's another fun fact. Number 1 city globally for drone technology and development. We've got a number of companies that are actively doing R&D in drone technology and drone applications. Some of which are for defense and actually being utilized in the Ukraine war currently. It's ranked as one of the most dynamically developing cities. Very, very vibrant startup ecosystems. A lot of entrepreneurship happening. But also another fact of with Riga is that it's a human scale city. It's not very congested. It's very clean. It's very safe. The people are friendly. Once they get to know you, they warm up. Everyone's helpful. It's very welcoming to outsiders. It's top-notch infrastructure. The best airport in the region. The Rail Baltica project will be bringing high-speed rail in within a couple of years. It'll be able to access all of Europe via high-speed rail. And it's considered top 10 mid-sized European cities of the future, and top small European regions of the future as well for time. Excellent infrastructure, as I mentioned before. We here at LIA have been we're targeting these 5 sectors for foreign direct investment above our traditional industries, which are wood products, metalworking, things like that. But these 5 sectors we feel are a big part of the future economy of Latvia. They involve biomedicine, bioeconomy, smart energy, with a big emphasis on hydrogen, and as well as wind. But hydrogen especially, we've got a lot of our R&D, a lot of startups that are working in the hydrogen space, looking for partnerships, looking for investment, looking for avenues where they can grow and develop and bring their ideas and products to market. Smart materials, which also ties in with hydrogen uses and micro coatings required to manage that. Photonics, and then of course back to the classic ICT, global business services over here. We've incentives for growth and innovation. We've got this is through LIA and other departments within the Latvian government. Idea development, what we call the Idea Club. We have many business incubators and ecosystems, accelerators. We have a number of events, 2 of which just concluded. We had a Tech Chill as well as Deep Tech Atelier. And there's several other events that happen annually within Latvia. These are, we provide support to folks that want to set up startups here that can participate in these things and move their ideas and companies forward. We also, if you move your business here or start a business here or move facilities here, we've got startup benefits, innovation ventures, cluster programs. We've got many financing programs at different scales for different types of businesses. There's also what's called Norwegian grants for several qualifying startups. And also we provide employee training for either businesses relocating here or expanding here or setting up shop. Export development is very nuts and bolts, but we, part of that is also all the LEA representatives around the world. I'll touch on that later. But we also have export credits, guarantees, financings, and you also have the support of LEA as far as its assets in Riga and its contacts and industry specialists. We also have 5 economic zones throughout the country, SEZs. We'll be hearing from Vladislav very soon regarding the Latgales says. But these areas are targeted for investment, for foreign direct investment. We've got incentives that are on top of the ones provided at the baseline over here. And then the administrative check also is we can get foreign direct investments, fast track the administrative process. We provide you support in getting bank accounts set up, getting your people here, getting visas, etc. Centers for Growth and Innovation. We've got 1.6 billion euro investment in our economy, essentially with climate and energy efficiency, economic transformation and productivity, reduction of inequality. Like I mentioned, our workforce is very diverse. It's also becoming more ethnically diverse. We're having immigrants that have come here from different parts of the world that have started to set up startups and companies or investing here, and getting visas to stay in Latvia. So bottom line, low competition, easy to enter and to scale, got training incentives, fast track procedures, green corridors for smart investments, modern ICT infrastructure, and superior accessibility to government. That's one thing I'd like to point out with the size of Latvia and the size of its government. Someone coming in and bringing 25, 30, 50, 100 jobs to the country is a major impact. You will have access to top government people, to the ministries responsible to assist you, to academia. If you want or desire or require academic support or involvement with R&D, we can pair you with the university system rapidly. You can get you to key people. In many other larger European cities, that's impossible or much more difficult because there's just so many more people. But in Latvia, it's it's sort of going into the jargon. You're at most 2 or at most 3 handshakes from the prime minister. If you come here with jobs and investment, we can get you the people in touch with the people you need to be in touch with, plus get you the support for any issues that may arise, help you with getting the visas for people that you need to get here, etc. Brief snapshot of LEA, Investment Development Agency of Latvia. We have got 4 major departments. The investment department, the FDI department, where Raivis is from. He's coming up next. Of course, trade, export, and also import. Obviously, innovations is our startup ecosystems, our support for entrepreneurs, support for R&D, etc. And then also a big industry in Latvia is tourism, very big and employs a lot of people. And we're putting a big emphasis on growing this sector. It has recovered quite a bit from COVID, but we want to do more. And we're working with our partners in Lithuania and Estonia with expanding just regional tourism. So it's a big part of our business, a part of our mission. And then here we have the representative offices. We have 22 representatives in 21 countries. We just added Uzbekistan. I know there's several others that are being planned. But a big emphasis here was on the United States. You've got 2 representatives here, one being myself in Boston, my colleague Torms in San Francisco, as well as our economics officer in our embassy, Gins Zadraks in Washington, D.C. So you can turn to any one of the 3 of us to get input or questions or to facilitate what you might need. We'll have contact that will be available. Thank you. Here's 3 links here that'll be here that you can go to at any time to get information or additional data or get contact information. So thank you very much for your time. And I'll pass it off to Raivis now. Raivis, take it from there. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Rainis.
Let me get my share screen off. There we go.
Thank you.
I'll be on mute, but I'll be here. So.
Great. All right, guys. So a country with a mission to become the headquarters of sustainable innovation. Beautiful slogan, right? And I truly believe it. And yes, I also think that actions do speak louder than words. And that's why I would like to actually share 5 investment projects in each of our priority sectors, and not so much focus on the projects themselves as on how were we able to support those projects, and also why did they choose Latvia? And something that Reins didn't mention about the priority sectors. I mean, we have them, but it's not just we tell that those are the priority sectors, but we're also working on building the environment, the investment environment for them. We're targeting our incentives and support mechanisms towards these sectors, and we're actively attracting investments there. So in no specific order, I will start with Animind, which is in biomedicine. And this is a story that started back in 2013. And originally they're from Ukraine. And the first time they came to Latvia was one reason was to enter into EU. And the other reason was to provide business continuity in case of Russian aggression in Ukraine. And that's actually something that happened, as we all know. And that's what caused the phase 2 expansion. And in 2022, they were forced to move more of their operations to Latvia. And now the target is 300 employees. The phase 2 was supported largely by the ecosystem we had already established, and we provided them with all the necessary contacts, and they were able to really get things moving fairly quickly. Of course, it wasn't all just smooth sailing, and they had issues, from their government side. So where they needed to temporarily relocate some of their technical support specialists to basically set up the operations in Latvia, so setting up all the equipment. And the government did not allow them to relocate these people. So that's where we came in, and we actually made agreement with the Ukrainian government. And in the end, we were able to relocate these people temporarily. They set up all the operations and could go back to Ukraine. So that's one of the examples. The next one, Rettenmeier. But before I start talking about this, I would like to mention a fact that's maybe not well known, is that Latvia is one of the greenest countries in the world. We actually have afforestation instead of deforestation. Approximately half of the country is forest, and it is extremely well maintained. And this actually has been proven, since we have had multiple visits by other countries who come to Latvia to learn about the ways how we are maintaining our forests. And also, as you can see, the company that I'm showing is here for already 3 decades. And now in 2022, they decided to basically build a new facility, 180 million euro investment, not bad. And it speaks, it's a nice thing, I guess, to see that a player who's been here for already for 30 years still recognizes this is a good location and is expanding and becoming more productive. And how we supported this investment, actually, from the government side, we provided large investment support, so 10 million euro. That's the maximum for this support mechanism. And the other one was the Green Channel, which is also targeted to large investment projects in these priority sectors. And this puts the project in a priority segment. And all of the administrative tasks, which include, for example, environmental assessment and building permits and all the other processes, are actually handled twice as fast as they're regularly done in Latvia. So the next one, we have a Pulsar Optics. And right here, again, actually, that's the feedback that we got back from the investors. The two things that, well, not two, or three things that really played a big role in their decision, where one was the ecosystem that we at LEA had already established. The other that already basically gave them access to Workpool and all the other business partners that they required. Then skilled workforce was something that was already appreciated. And the third one is something Reinis mentioned, and later you will hear a bit more about, is the special economic zones, which we have 5 of those in Latvia. So this was also something that, of course, I mean, tax rebates is something pleasant and also played a big part in their decision. So next one we have in the ICT sector, EPAM systems, also something which is kind of in two phases. So right now, this year, they're having an expansion. So they had 120 employees until now, and now they're like doubling the size of their business. Again, we heard good feedback about the existing ecosystem and the ability to train employees. So we have various boot camps. So there's options to train employees both privately, and also there is support from the government side. So these training programs, support mechanisms, they do change year to year, but we do try to provide those. And ongoing thing with EPAM systems is relocation support. So they are both hiring people locally and also relocating them from Belarus. So those are the cases where if a relocation of certain employees is getting stuck somewhere in migration services, then again, the EPAM systems is coming to us. They're saying that they have a problem, and then we step in and we try to solve it as quickly as we can. So that's another type of support we provide. And before I mentioned about the forest, about us being green, but it's not just the forest, it's also actually the renewable energy, of which we're also one of the greenest countries in Europe. Currently, it's 42% renewable energy already. And right here, you see Baltic Renewables, which is not one of the most recent projects, but it's actually kind of one of those that started this new trend of renewable energy projects in Latvia, which is a very hot topic right now. And actually, the whole grid is kind of booked already. And even more projects are queuing up and waiting for free space on the grid, so they could move on with their projects as well. So this why Baltic Renewables chose Latvia when they did back in 2021 was the low saturation, which is no longer true. But back then there was not a huge activity of wind projects in Latvia, even though the conditions are very good for that, and also for solar projects. So right now, these renewable projects are already moving, and we should be start to look at the energy-intensive manufacturing. They're basically consumers of this energy. Some of the good things that I've heard from this project, why did they choose Latvia? One was the grid transparency. So it is very easy in Latvia to just open up a map and see where you have free space, either for production of energy or consumption of energy. So that's very useful. Then again, Grid Channel was used for this project. So they could move twice as fast. And something that we at LEA did was to facilitate communication with landowners so that the purchase of real estate would go smoother, and also facilitating the communication with municipalities who have mostly been very forthcoming. And another, I guess, fun fact is that actually the project manager from LIA, who was working with this project, is now working as a country manager for the Baltic Renewables project. So that says something about the quality of the support that we at LIA are providing. And that's very briefly it. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Raivi. That was an excellent presentation.
Thank you.
And thanks for filling in the couple of gaps that I had in mind. So thank you very much for that. Appreciate that. Vladislav, you're up.
Hello, everybody. Just before I start my presentation, I would like to share a small video with you for you to have an idea what Latgal region is about. And I beg your pardon in advance if there will be some advertisement inside, because I will stream it from the YouTube.
James, can you please tell us a bit more about your success story? The short answer, right people, right place. Do you want to hear the long one? For sure. Well, it all started a few years ago when I landed in Riga. By the way, I came to Latvia in search for a place for our production facility, and Andris was supposed to help me. You are more than welcome. The thing I wanted to discuss about your proposal... Things we'll discuss later. No, enjoy the view. Yeah, I know, Riga's very nice, but... We are not going to Riga this time. We are going to Latgal. Never heard about this place. Where's that? You will see. It's a very interesting place. It is covered with deep forests. A lot of legends are being told about its 1,000 lakes. I still didn't have any idea where Andris was taking me. Only later I would find out that it was a strategic location. Latgal is right on the crossroads between east and west. You have St. Petersburg to the north, Moscow to the east, Minsk, Vilnius, Warsaw to the south, and Riga's to the west. 3 of the 4 major region's airports are easily reachable. And yeah, there's direct rail links to the region's biggest points. It would not be right to say that Latgal is just a great location. It would be nothing without the people. By the way, we have arrived. It's time to experience true Latgalian hospitality. That was the very first moment when I started to realize a change in my mind, and I began to feel an emotional link to the place and the people. But I was still very far away from actually discovering all the opportunities the region had to offer. It all came a bit later. Later, I found out that mosquitoes are the only things that bite here. You won't be bitten by taxes or labor costs, as they are amongst the lowest in Europe. The special economic zones here are among the top 10 in cost efficiency in the world. I discovered that the traditional bath is not the only hotspot here. So are the local concert halls and art galleries. In the beginning, I was pretty surprised about the local trend to keep books everywhere. Yeah, even there. But later I found out that Latgalians are taking education really seriously. 2 new modern universities have been built. Young and highly qualified professionals are growing here. Non-stop improvements of infrastructure is going on here. Building of roads and development of rail links. And did I mention the skills? These guys are making products even for the space industry. Sounds too good? As I say to all my partners who are coming here, more than welcome. Latgal is just these lakes. What is it? What is it like?
Всем Atzīmējam, ka seminārs tiek ierakstīts visi. Un jā, vēlreiz labrīt un prieks jūs satikt šodien šeit šajā seminārā. Nu jau var teikt semināru maratona noslēdzošajā, jo mums bija izsludināti tagad sākot no
Sorry, do you see the screen? So a little story about Latgale and a presentation on business environment in Latgale region. So basically, this is the pink area that you see, Latvia in the middle, and on the right, this is Latgale. Latgale doesn't have a big population. It's just a little bit less than 250,000 people. We have in total 9 municipalities, 7 counties, and 2 cities of state significance. So external borders are 166 kilometers with Russian Federation and 87 kilometers with the Republic of Belarus. EU border is 253 kilometers, and the density of the region is not really high. It's just 18 people per 1 square kilometer. So this is geographically where we are. So we're about 500 kilometers from Warsaw. We're about 1,000 kilometers from Vienna or Berlin, and about 2,000 kilometers from Barcelona. And total territory of the Latgale region is 14,500 square kilometers. So this is nationalities of Latgale region. So it's about 45% Latvians, 36% Russians, 6.5% Polish, 4.7% Belarusians, and 6% of other nationalities represented in Latgale region. So this is some the data about GDP per capita. So as you see, we are like the, let's say, the lowest region in, let's say, in Latvia, but we are striving and working in the direction of development of entrepreneurship here. So this is the same GDP in thousands of euro. We have also quite high unemployment rate, but if you can see, starting from 2017 up to 2021, the situation is getting better, and I believe that in future we will in some day catch up also Riga region. So this is unemployment rate in age group from 15 to 75, 4 years old. Here you see that we also have some problem here, but this is also a plus for us. It means that we have certain labor force that we can offer for, let's say, for the investors. And let's say this is the little bit old data, but we don't have for the moment newest information about 2021 and 2022. But as far as we know, the situation is like changing. They also average, let's say, salaries and wages are going up in the region as well. So this is information we've also seen. I think Rain is showed like the FDI's statistics in Latvia. So the idea is kind of like also in Latgale region. And we also see that the United States is also in top 15 investors in Latgale region. So a little bit about Latgale Special Economic Zone that I'm representing. So Latgale Special Economic Zone is a state aid tool with the main goal of attraction of foreign direct investments to Latgale region. Our main difference from other special economic zones in Latvia and also in Europe is that we do not have a strictly defined territories for investments. We render special economic zone status for basically any land plot that is interesting for investor. And Latgale Special Economic Zone is management is carried out centrally by the Latgale Planning Region. Means Latgale Planning Region, I will not maybe go in details in here, but Latgale Planning Region is kind of second level municipality that have certain functions derived from the state as territorial planning, public transport, development of entrepreneurial activities, special economic zones. Also, we do a lot cross-border cooperation with neighbors that is funded from the EU funds. So basically, the Latgale Special Economic Territory consists of public and private owned territories. And the main idea, or what we are, let's say, start when we start our negotiations with investors, what the first thing we show and discuss that when you make investment in Latgale region, you can have a return from 40 up to 60% of your investments back. We do not cash it back in your bank account, but this is the percentage or part of your investment that you can receive back using certain direct tax reliefs. So this amount, like how do we calculate it? As you see, this is the system is made for whole Europe. This is how the small, medium, and big enterprises are defined. The small one is a company investor that has less than 40 or 50 employees, and turnover for the last period is less than 10 million. The middle company employs 250 up to 250 employees, and the turnover for previous period is less than 50 million. All other companies are considered to be the big companies. So it means, just in digits, if you invest €1 million in Latgale region and you're a middle company, you have plus from the state that is €500,000, let's say. And how you can use this money? So you can use this money to cover up to 100% of real estate tax for your production facility or service rendering place in Latgale region, and up to an 80% discount on corporate income tax. In Latvia, we have a system that if you don't pay the dividends for the owners, the tax is zero. So we consider that the profit is reinvested. At the moment when you have an idea to pay out dividends, you have to pay 20% of corporate income tax. So how this system works? So as we have discussed, the company, just an example, made an investment of $1 million or euro, and let's say the total bonus that it might have in future is 50% or €500,000 euro. So in 2028, company makes a decision to pay dividends, let's say $1 million to the owners, or euro, €1 million to the owners. And if the company is not inside the special economic zone, it means the dividends will be €800,000 and the tax will be €200,000. But if the company made an investment in special economic zone, 80% of the tax will be covered with their investments. It means that the company will receive €800,000 dividends and will pay only €40,000 tax, and €160 will be deemed to be covered by their previous investments. And this is basically how it works also with real estate. Basically, what are the ideas which companies might appear and invest in Latgale Special Economic Zone? First of all, those of course newcomers, new companies that are coming and investing in Latgale region. Also, there are free moments when existing companies that are working in Latgale can also let's say, make an agreement with us and do the investment in Latgale region. And those are increase of production capacity of the existing enterprise, diversification of the existing production with products that are not previously produced, and substantial change in production. So what are the investment basically that we are waiting from the companies that are entering Latgale? First of all, those are building structures, equipment, and machinery. Then long-term and tangible assets could be costs for obtaining patents and technology acquisitions. And starting from 2020, we have an option for the companies through structure of, let's say, product or service revenue, where the costs are higher, not in non-tangible investments, but in salaries. They can, let's say, state that their salaries for newly created working places are their initial investments. So the idea, maybe I'm like explaining a little bit more, a little bit complex, but the idea would be a good example would be, for instance, a call center, when the investments for the company is making 50 working places, and investments for long term, like computers, furniture, and else, it's about, let's say, 100,000 euro. But the salaries for the 2 years for newly created working places would be 1.5 million. Then investor has a right to choose salaries in an investment, and from the, let's say, the total sum of the of those salaries he will pay during 2 years will be his investment, and basically from 40 up to 60% he can return back and cover the above mentioned taxes with this money. A little statistics what happening in what we've done in, because we are 5 years old basically. It was starting to work in 2017, and up to this moment we have 26 capital companies that are covering the area of 97 hectares. We have 52 agreements with a total amount of 66.56 million euro, and so far there are 370 working places already created, and about 300 are planned. The main areas of the companies that are entering special economic zone are quite classical, the three ones, like metalworking, woodworking, and production of textiles. And also we have a new investors coming that are investing in high value added products, like the company Pulsar. Raivas was telling this company made an investment in Daugavpils, and last year we made agreements for them for about 5 million euro for development of a new production facility. So we also do a lot external activities, or visiting a lot of exhibitions all over the world with an idea to attract foreign direct investments to Latvia region. So this is basically how we see our future. So we are working on circular economy, sustainability, promotion of green entrepreneurship, reduction of economical differences of Latvia region, eastern border of European Union, development of housing stock and availability of energy resources in municipalities, and also with energy efficiency. So these are contacts ours, so please do not hesitate if you have any questions to contact us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vladislav. Very informative. Thank you very much. Pass it on now to Emil.
Hey everyone. Yeah, sorry for my voice. I got a bit sick, but nevertheless, happy to be here. Just give me a sec. I will share my screen, and I will also put this in a presentation mode. Perfect. So the classical question, can you see my screen? And I see Reinis nodding his head and showing thumbs up. Perfect. Yeah, I will use some of the time and be happy, to answer any questions during the Q&A session to speak about one of the case studies. We are a startup based in Latvia, have an office in the US as well, actually, and how we've built our solutions and our traction globally, building the core of the solution in Latvia. Nevertheless, my name is Emil Sundikov. I'm a computer scientist by education, but the hats I wear are, the main hat I wear is the co-founder and CEO of Longenesis. We're a digital health company with the aim to provide digital tools for empowering so-called secondary health data use, or in a simple words, how to provide help for life science companies, including pharma, medtech, AI companies dealing with health data to accelerate healthcare research. And as per numbers, we are the leading digital health startup in the Baltics. You might have heard, that Estonia are the ones being, further digitally, but not in digital health. And as Reinis outlined, we are also in the forefront by a lot of different companies and networks. But nevertheless, we're a leading digital health company in the Baltics, supporting the secondary health data use. So data use for research in healthcare or clinical research. Having more than 500,000 patients using our solutions and disease domains in 14 countries in EU, MENA, and also several studies in the US, including Boston University and others. We also work with two sectors, which are healthcare institutions, including hospitals, registries, biobanks, patient advocacy groups, helping them to attract research, to showcase the data in privacy-preserving manner, and engage patients in real-world data, gathering data for different research and clinical initiatives, and life science companies on another side. We also do work with governments, and some of the slides will showcase the case studies, how we from Latvia work with the government of UAE as an example. We have a cross-border experience on our shoulders, including partners in Latvia and international partners. Some of those you can see on the screen here, and some of the names might be familiar as well. But what are the problems? What is the challenge that we're tackling? And I will also touch base how being in Latvia helped us to actually build a solution that is used in multiple countries. We are tackling the problem related for novel therapeutics and drug discovery. So it takes multiple years to design novel drug. And one of the biggest part of this journey is healthcare research, where study sponsors, the life science companies, often have challenges of finding the right data and engaging patients. And we will speak about the research. It's not only one country or one market. It's in a lot of cases, it's cross-border collaboration. So basically multiple hospitals, multiple universities, labs located in Latvia, it's Italy, Norway, US, APAC region, etc., working hand in hand. And the challenge lays within data, which is often unstructured, not being utilized, and inbound with with regulatory challenges on data sharing, because as we all know, such sensitive data has challenges in sending data outside of the hospital, even between the hospitals, not speaking about cross-border data transfers. And inbound with a lack of proactive engagements of patients, it brings us to the point where collaboration happens in Soul Cycle, where we basically tackled in, and what we provide there is a two-in-one or top-down solution, providing tools for real-time data discovery, so helping life science companies find the data and identify patients and engage patients in the studies, all with privacy and ethics by design at heart. So what are the solutions there? Just to quickly outline that, and then we will refer to the case studies, and I will try to showcase what was our path, starting from being in Latvia to scale this up. The first one is related to data discovery. So we designed a solution called Curator, because the state-of-the-art focuses on data ingestion, basically taking out data from hospitals. What we've had in mind and what we're having in mind, the philosophy is that data should stay local. Data should stay in the hospitals and the healthcare institutions for treatment or so-called clinical purposes. Meanwhile, we've designed Curator, which is a centralized metadata curation platform, which is used in 14 countries, meaning that we can tap into the network of US, France, Germany, UAE, Latvia, healthcare institutions, identify the data that's needed for research for the life science company, or identify patients while data stays there. So no privacy, no privacy related concerns. And we do avoid such challenges with the solution that is listed here. We also partner with Microsoft Healthcare for use of a generative AI to help to do this in real time through multiple languages and multiple data formats as well. But once the data is identified, it's all about patient engagement both in public health initiatives as well as healthcare research initiatives, where we designed in platform called Engage, very simple naming, which we call as a digitized bridge, connecting patients, broader population with clinicians and researchers to generate real-world data and act based upon it. So basically, we call it as a digital support throughout the whole patient journey, where healthcare institutions equipped with the solution can drag and drop different interaction modules, forming so-called Lego bricks to support patient engagement, collect data, and visualize, analyze, and provide insights based on data that can be used for clinical trials or clinical purposes as such. Available in multiple languages, more than 7 countries provided ethics approvals with our tools. So we know how to do this stuff in an international manner. But it all nails down also to dynamic e-consent management, so building trust with patients. And which was our first product. We actually equipped Harvard University Professor George Church for his own population genomics initiatives back in 2018, if I'm not mistaken, the year, and also the genomics project in the UAE, with an ability for participants, the patients, to control for what purposes, where, the how, and data will be used, and get invites and get engaged in the research, all with a tool that fits the pockets of their pants or the purse. And this is the API tool that we equipped multiple countries already. Yeah, so the approach there basically was that we equipped the institutions, all about the networking effect. So we started equipping the institutions here in the Baltics, in Latvia, as Reinis, I think, outlined, and his colleagues from the Latvian Investment and Development Agency, there are very big pros of smaller countries. And one of those is the so-called, the handshake effect. If I'm not mistaken, Reinis was the one telling this, and meaning that we've started working with the key opinion leaders, the clinical key opinion leaders, and the clinical university hospitals here in Latvia, meaning that both we are part of European Union, as well as our regional and clinical university hospitals are the part of the bigger consortiums that gave us an ability to actually scale up. So proving and having a proof of concept within one hospital, we had access and door opened for EU5 markets, for CE region, as well as for the Nordics, as an example, for other neighboring countries right away. And as I mentioned, it's all about networking. So this is our strategy that Latvia actually helped us with as a Latvian company to tap into the wider reach, to equip with this, engage in consent management solution, healthcare institutions, starting in CE region and the Middle East and North African region, and provide an ability for study sponsors and life science companies to tap into the network right away in real time and engage patients in multiple countries, all with privacy at heart. And the business model is quite simplified towards the fixed SaaS for healthcare institutions and multi-recurring partnerships with a pharma. And just to give a couple of examples there to summarize is how do healthcare institution license company benefit in practice. Here you can see some of the industrial cases that we actually brought to Latvia from international life science companies, as well as equipped healthcare institutions in countries like Italy, Finland, Poland, Czech Republic, etc., and connected them with life science companies, also with US-based life science companies and medtech companies, actually. And some of the examples, just to give a clear understanding what we're talking about, one of those is related to population health, the platform that will launch in Baltics, which was one of the major population-based healthcare research project related to breast cancer awareness. We've actually engaged around 15,000 women, which is the newer number here, in the prospective research, meaning that our solution, basically we equipped ladies with a digital tool to perform personalized risk assessments, as well as a breast examination diary to receive personalized report and act based upon it. So basically to incentivize the communication with the GP, gynecologist, and the specialists. But on a layer above it, we provide a tool that connected healthcare researchers and life science companies with the population because of the dynamic consent. So we've engaged these groups into commercial studies afterwards with a Swiss-based pharma and Hungarian-based pharma that brought also, investments to the health institutions here in Latvia. And just to give another example, the company Medtronic, the medical technology leader worldwide, used our solutions for type 1 diabetes study to understand the quality of life changes, meaning that they use our solution and within half an hour, they identified 300 patients in 4 centers. Meanwhile, it takes them, a month to do that in a classical setup, and then equipped with our solution and engaged participants in the quality of life study, receiving the data needed for further certification and post-market validation of the therapy that they produce. And this is just to give a quick example of the UIE study. So we are working also not only in EU, but abroad. The dynamic consent management is used in national genomics initiatives there to provide the consent management toolkit for the personalized healthcare strategies and attracting more research studies to the region. Yeah, so the vision is quite simple. So we are we would like to be at the forefront of EU health data space. So the regulation coming in the European Union for cross-border collaboration, but with our toolkit, we've had validated the use cases both in the US, as I mentioned before, in the Middle East, in Europe, and also in the APAC region, like countries like South Korea and Singapore, and Hong Kong. Health institutions use our solutions there. Yeah, so this is our team. We're based in Riga, in Latvia, but as I mentioned before, having traction in the global footprint. It's actually 16 FTEs now, all coming from engineering and medical space. So this is also a good part about Latvia, that we have quite a strong engineering and medical science departments and educational capacity. So there is a resource to actually hire. So as a startup co-founder, quite happy about that. To enhance this cross competence collaboration between different disciplines. And speaking of some of the advisors, so Alex, Pioneer AI for drug discovery in silico medicine, actually also born in Riga, built a global company in silico medicine, the first of kind to AI generated molecules FDA approved for in human clinical trials. Professor Dr. Mira Venturi from Hoffman La Roche and Mr. Daniel Pavlis, former Minister of Healthcare, is on our board of advisors. So that's quickly about us. I will be happy to get in touch and answer any questions if there will be any. And once again, just to summarize, I think that we've chose Latvia because it's a good opportunity to kickstart your digital health life science business, because you have access to the major centers, all with EU clinical standards and the guidelines, meaning that what you develop here, you can scale up on the regions in neighboring EU member states countries with an accelerated model, as I might say. Thank you, Reinis, for moderating this. So I will mute myself and stop sharing the screen. Happy to answer any questions if there will be any.
Yes, thank you, Emil, for that excellent presentation. I'm always impressed by the work you and your team are doing. Is just quite amazing. I wish I knew more about it, but it's quite excellent. I guess our next presentation was for I think it was for Roberts. Yeah, that's correct. Sorry, for Roberts.
Yes. Hey everyone. Thank you very much for Reinis. Thank you very much for setting this up. I think very inspiring individuals are here, and very inspiring stories. So let me just quickly talk about HTD Pool, what we do, so that I do not steal any more time, and we can just basically go to the Q&A session. Let me just quickly share my screen as well. So, Reinis, can you please thumbs up if you see? Okay, cool. So basically, I'm going to talk about HTD Pool, and in short about our Meta Authorized Sales Partner Program and what we do and what it is. And then I will be more than happy to answer any questions. Moving forward, what we do and what is our vision? Our vision is to identify rising star businesses and empower them at scale to reach their full potential in digital advertising. When talking about digital advertising, I'm talking about several platforms that we as HTD Pool represent. Today, I'm going to talk about more about Meta, but in general, we also support anything related with Twitter, Snapchat, Spotify, TikTok, Digital Turbine, Twitch, and many other platforms that are globally. We are the largest international exclusive partner of these platforms and also other social media channels. And what we do, we consult advertisers to support their growth and drive business results across over 30 markets in Europe and in Asia. To going deeper into relationship with Meta, we are authorized sales partner in 7 markets for them across Europe and 3 markets in Asia. Our local teams provide free support to advertisers. We educate them on advertising best practices, and we also bring Meta experts for exclusive training sessions. Our expertise and, let's say, proven track record allows us to act as a reliable partner for Meta and accelerate global growth for our clients, respectively for clients in Baltics, Balkans, and also Central Europe. When looking globally, then you will most probably find only these 4 biggest official Meta representatives across markets. The largest one of them is us, but these are also partners that companies go to, but these partners are just working in other markets where we are not in, or Meta is not in, or they're just partially there in. To just show a little bit more like a scheme, how it looks like, the markets where Meta teams are present, they're basically working directly to agencies and clients like this. The markets where Meta teams are not present or are partially present, we are working either closely together with them, or we are working just us there, and they're not there present. And we're basically working with clients and together with agencies. Going further about Meta relationship, our mission is to help advertisers and agencies across selected markets to achieve their business goals by providing local assistance, strategic direction, and expertise across the family of Meta products. And that means that we are Meta's exclusive representatives where Meta teams are not present, as I showed in the previous slides. We are chosen and we are contracted by Meta, and we go actually through a rigorous assessment and training processes. These processes are actually continuous processes every quarter. So every quarter we have new things that we have to learn. Every year we have to redo each of our employees. We have to redo the certifications, much like lawyers and doctors go certifications pretty much every quarter, every year. And we work as Meta sales team's extension. And Meta also endorses and enables us to diagnose a client's marketing needs and provide strategic direction across Meta products. So in other words, it means that if you're our client, we can also involve Meta representatives into supporting you, into supporting any kind of endeavors you have in the Meta platform. So this is a slide more for making sure that companies do not confuse us, and basically just explaining who we are not. And we do not provide the same services as agencies, as advertising or media agencies, and we do not compete with them in front of the clients. We're actually working as an extension to either your media agency, or we are working as an extension of your in-house marketing team. We do not manage campaigns, but we consult on everything that the clients and agencies are doing in terms of media campaigns. And in other words, we work alongside the agency team to ensure proper implementation. Each of our employees, as explained before, we are certified, respectively Meta Blueprint certified. We have solutions expertise across all Meta products, combined with local knowledge of advertising ecosystem, meaning that if we are in some kind of local market, in this case, respectively Latvian market, then all of us sales managers, client solutions managers, we know the local ecosystem, we know the business, let's say, business ecosystem. We know some of them interesting things about the business industry, so that we know how to communicate with the businesses, with certain industries, with certain verticals, and we understand the local markets. Therefore, we also can conduct fast response time due to local presence, while constant connections with Meta teams. Last but not least, we also provide local billing and payment via invoice issuing. And in other words, to just combine everything together, we provide a scaled education program, because that's what we do. This is what we are all about education and about educating clients, educating companies that are advertising, so that they are actually more educated about the platform and they know what to do and how to more properly scale their campaigns and trust and give more trust to the platform and basically invest more money and get more revenue out of that. And as a last slide, just wanted to briefly go through the whole program that we do for agencies and for clients in details. So our support is totally free of charge, and we have kind of broken down the support into 5 main pillars, which first and most important is performance support. We give exclusive support feature for troubleshooting. We give recommendations on challenges, solutions, meta products, and performance best practices. The same applies for creative solutions consultancy. We have best-in-class advertising experts for creative solutions on Meta. This team involves strategists, designers, art directors, copywriters, creative directors in our team. Basically, we like to call it a team of excellence. As I like to call it, it's one of the top talents in creative industry in the Baltics that we have compiled under HUD Pool. These people give recommendations, latest updates, and creative best practices for Meta platform. We also consult on measurement and reporting advising endeavors. We give recommendations, guidance, best practices on measurement and tracking tools. In short, Metapixel, SDK, Conversions API, split testing. And as I said before, we are all about education. So we provide latest materials, meta news, product releases, updates. We also coordinate and develop various events for the ecosystem. We invite clients, we invite agencies for seminars, webinars, and basically through these initiatives, through this education program, we educate teams, marketing teams at scale, so that they become more knowledgeable in how to utilize the platform for their needs. And last but not least, we also provide billing solutions, which is sort of like replicating what Meta platform is doing in the big markets with big advertisers. We're also providing the same solution for advertisers here. Those advertisers which financial results qualify, we are able to secure a credit line, meaning that they have a post payment structure for paying advertising budget invoices, and they in that sense we can improve their cash conversion cycles and cash flow in general to support their cash flow in a way that they can still continue to generate more sales. They have more days in which to generate more purchases for their services or products, whatever. And in that sense, we are giving a possibility to just pay the advertising budget with a postpaid structure. So yeah, very quickly, that's it. We support businesses, small, medium, large, doesn't matter. Whether you're just starting in Meta or any other platform that we represent, we are here. We are here for you, and also we are building various other systems, various other smaller incubators under the HUD Pool. For example, we have SMB, small medium business incubator, that we have recently launched in Latvia, Lithuania, and Nigeria. Nigeria is also our market where we are operating. And this business incubator is for everyone who is just starting or planning to start in Meta advertising. We have basically compiled the most structurized and the most important knowledge that is out there for starting in Meta advertising. We have distributed all of the knowledge in 3 modules: beginner, intermediate, and advanced. Basically, anyone who is just starting can go there, smbincubator.com, and through this incubator, we are helping to educate a lot of small and medium businesses at scale. And through this education platform, we're going to communicate, distribute a lot of playbooks, a lot of plug and play presentations, how to, let's say, plug and play for e-commerce website, fintech website, or any other vertical. But yeah, what we do, we educate at scale, we help at scale, we scale at scale companies in the regions where we are at. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Really appreciate it. Just as a sidelight, both to Robert and to Emil's presentations, they're here sort of as a success stories, obviously, both of them, but also to illustrate the high caliber and quality of companies with which you can either collaborate, make investments in, or utilize them for services that you may need, etc. And there are many others, and we here at LEA can facilitate introductions to you to companies in your specific field or specific areas, or even conduct these types of seminars with very specific either startup stage or mid-tiers or advanced stage companies based on what your needs might be, or your desires for where you're looking to invest, etc. As an aside, but thank you both, Emil and Robert, for illustrating the really high caliber of your companies and the people that you've got working for you. It's very impressive. Thank you. And now pass the baton on to my colleague Toms Vidinch, who's very experienced in supporting his clients or LEA clients. I think he's in his 6th year with LEA, and done an excellent job bringing a lot of FDI to Latvia, as well as facilitating exports and other things. So I'll hand it off to Toms, and know he's going to have an excellent presentation. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Reinis, and thank you for the kind introduction. Good evening, everyone. Great to see so many familiar faces today. Just presentation on. So yeah, like Reinis mentioned, I'm based out of San Francisco, and it's been about 6 years. And over these years, oftentimes one of the questions that US companies have is, how do I build my technology? How do I, what's the best approach there? And oftentimes it's a choice between building your own remote team in Riga, for example, or outsourcing all the development and other technology needs. And I thought today I'd share a little bit of my own experience, because in my previous life as an executive for a financial technology company, that was actually one of the main challenges we were dealing with. And so I've put together a little presentation on the topic. Right. All right. Good. So yeah. So first of all, let's start with just understanding what is building your own remote team, and what's the difference between that and outsourcing. And building your own team would just be hiring employees and setting up a company in Latvia, for example, and integrating the team in the company's culture. And in the past years, I usually have 1 to 2 companies a year that would open an office in Latvia in a similar way, and usually they would hire anywhere from 5 to 25 employees initially, and then grow as the business grows. While on the other hand, outsourcing would be more hiring a company that already has that capacity to build technologies. And we have great examples where the large US companies like Microsoft, Pinterest, Zoom Communications that we're using today, and Twilio and other companies are outsourcing their technology needs to Latvia, several companies. And I'd be happy to share them if you're interested. You can reach out. I'll have the email. You'll see the email later in the presentation. So I thought I'd go through like pros and cons of each of them, and then kind of have a conclusion of how to choose. So let's start with remote teams. So you're building your own team, you're opening an office. So obviously the advantages are that you have your own team that is then integrated in the culture. You're building more trust and relationships with the team. And that makes it easier for you to manage it. And also, as many companies have, especially startups, change and iterate the product and pivot the business, because the team should be relatively flexible. And on top of that, another great advantage is that this team can also help you to solve customer problems if there are any. So let's say something's not working for a specific customer, you could have someone from your team talk to them, or you can contribute internally with building out some productivity tools and stuff like that. And then the cons would be you definitely have a larger initial investment. So setting up the business, it has some legal, payroll, hiring, all those costs, and not just money, but also time-wise add up. And so those would be like the things that you would have to deal with. Integration and communication with the team can sometimes be tricky because of the time zones, and while someone's sleeping, you're probably more difficult to get them on the call. But on the other hand, from my own experience, it can work really well, where you can send an email in the evening and ask for a specific task, and then wake up and it's done. So pros and cons. And finally, a big one, of course, is actually finding the talent and then hiring the right team. And we help with this in cooperation with recruiting companies in Latvia. So everything is doable. Now let's go through the outsourcing and just look at how that looks. And the number one would be flexibility, how easy it is to scale your team up or down if you need additional capacity, or you're like your deadline is approaching, then it's easier to like make it happen. And same goes with, we're seeing so many layoffs in Silicon Valley today. So same goes with also scaling down, and like you don't have to fire your team if you're outsourcing. Instead, you can just like ask for less workload from the company you're contracting. The initial investment is 0 or very low usually, and it's more like contract based as you go. And then finally, you, instead of getting one full-time person that would in 40 hours has one specific expertise, you could get 4 different experts in different fields and have like a better, wider expertise through this outsourcing approach. And now let's go to the drawbacks of contracting or hiring a company. Number one would probably be misaligned interests. So the company is getting paid per hour or project-based usually. Those would be the 2 most typical approaches. And so in this case, the company, if it's paid per hour, it might be a little slow, while if it's project-based, it might actually try to be as fast as possible, so the quality might suffer. So that's something to look out for. Then when it comes to outsourcing, it's typically more, you have a standard task that you're asking for, and it's much more difficult to be flexible and to change what you want, the end result. And so for startups that are pivoting their business every 2 quarters, that could be an issue. And then as the last, it's unexpected costs. So there could be some hidden costs sometimes when it comes to outsourcing. The company you're contracting could have additional consultation fees or coordination fees, or also it could be in terms of just lower productivity, going back to misaligned interests. So if the company is a little slow in delivering, then those would be that would be an issue. How back when we going back to 6 years back when I worked for a financial technology company, our approach was when we started out and we were smaller, we actually outsourced the whole development, and we had like a product that was ready, and so it was easy to kind of just use what we have. But obviously, as we were growing, our needs were also growing, and the outsourcing company wasn't as flexible. So what we did, we would start building our own internal team that would then take over and actually, in the end, completely redesigned the technologies that we used. And so just a couple of things to consider. If you're a startup that's pivoting and have like a more complex product, or you're a larger company, then you're probably better off building your own company, building your own remote team, and that usually goes together. Like you should, if you're a startup that has raised some capital or a larger company, you can also afford that higher initial investment, so it's easier for you to go that direction. While if you have a very standardized technology that you need, and it's more project-based, and you need it for a shorter period of time, so you just want it done, and you're not expecting a lot of changes in the product as the time goes, then the outsourcing would be probably a better solution for you. So some startups and smaller companies would usually go for that, as well as time frame, because it would be so much faster to get to the end result if you outsource. While remote team, you're starting with building your own team, and then as you go, you'll only start developing when you have the team. While outsourcing, you could probably start in a week's time. To conclude, I'd like to say that whichever you choose, we can help. Leah here in Latvia can help you with any of them. We have all the contacts of outsourcing companies that can provide services for you, or we can also help with hands-on assistance to set up your own office and team in Riga, or anywhere in Latvia, including Latgale, of course. And yeah, and I think that's kind of my short experience I wanted to share. And I'll say thank you. And before we jump into Q&A, I just like to plug a couple of events that are coming up. We have 2 business trips coming up in June, one to Boston, and Reinis is the person to ask because he's organizing it. And there's another one on June 19 that I'm organizing that is going to be to San Francisco. There's going to be 2 technology conferences, Tech Summit San Francisco, and another one that's optional. And the third event that I'd like to plug is in September, which is the largest US-Latvia business conference, Spotlight Latvia. This is going to take place in Boston this year. And if you're interested in any of these, please reach out to me or Reinis, and we'll be happy to assist.
Thank you, Toms. That was great. Thanks for the plugs. Yeah, the Spotlight Latvia event is in Boston. It's on the 22nd of September. That's a Friday. It's a one-day event. Last year's was in Los Angeles, which was a success. There have been previous ones in Chicago and Denver as well. So this is the fourth one. But they keep growing. We're expecting, I think, over 200 participants. There's going to be a very large Latvian delegation, number of companies coming, including our sort of national champions in the pharmaceutical industry. Both Grindex and Oline Farm have confirmed. There'll be others as well. So, yeah. Thanks, Tom, for Torms, for those plugs. That's very good. Let me we'll kind of segue into the Q&A. There were two brief questions that were submitted by people that were by firms or individuals who were when they were registering. So I'll run through those quickly because those were sort of there, and then we'll kind of open it up. If anybody has them, just Leva will facilitate the fact that you can be unmuted, and we'll go from there. First question was, what funding is available to foreign companies establishing themselves in Latvia? Is it possible to use EU funding? If so, what are the terms of use of these funds? This can get rather in depth quite a bit. There is a rather large pool of money available, depending on the size of the investment that's planned, and also the type. A lot of it's based on very there's ranges and metrics that are involved, but you can always overlap additional funding sources. For example, if I think that was illustrated in the Latgale SES presentation, and that applies at different levels in the other various special economic zones within Latvia. Is you can have support from LIA on one hand for employee training, direct grants, other those kind of things, and then from the SES you can get support for income tax reductions or property tax reductions. We also have the ability to do some loans, low interest loans from Altum, which is one of the Latvian government's sort of investment facilitation arm as far as debt financing. And of course, if there may be some EU initiatives, I think there was some mention of the Norwegian grants as well, which are quite specific as to who can apply and what and how they're applied. I'm no expert in those. But I think whoever tendered this question, we could maybe arguably you've brought up a good topic for another webinar to kind of go through our various support mechanisms. I know that a number of them are currently being renewed. And I'm using the royal we within LIA, not so much myself, but my colleagues in Riga are reviewing these as we speak, and they're going to be tweaked and improved and advanced and probably enlarged. Although I can't speak for that personally, that's just a general statement. But that's so whoever attended that, we would love to talk to you more about this. We can set up by using myself and Torms or my colleague Raivis, especially in Riga. We can set up a panel of people for you to discuss this with and go through very specific questions, and we can lay out plans if you have specific issues. Hopefully that was helpful, at least getting it off to a start. The other question is quite simple and straightforward. What makes you, meaning Latvia, stand out from other locations in the European single market? Well, just right off the bat, and Torms obviously jump in here if I miss something, and Raiva too, is just from a cost standpoint, labor cost standpoint, other costs, we're probably at a 30 to 40% cost advantage to anything in Western Europe. Germany, France, Italy, etc., Great Britain, even the Nordics. I mean, we have a lot of investment that is flowing in from Scandinavia, especially from Norway, from Sweden, from Finland, because of cost issues. Also, simply the high level of education and skill sets within the Latvian workforce is quite incredible. The percentage of university graduates, the percentages of those that are in STEM fields. Also, there's a very strong technical school development within the country. And so if you need machinists or woodworkers or other skilled trades, if they're not present, they can be trained. There's also the ability to get very rapidly to get visas to be able to come here to live here. If you're moving a business here or setting up a business here, you can own the land outright. You can be a foreigner, a non-Latvian citizen can be 100% owner of a company. You don't need to set up a shell with other people. And like I mentioned before, the accessibility of Riga, the ability to travel here quite quickly, although there is no direct air service to the USA or Canada. that probably will be coming in a few years, but it's down the road a piece. I know that Air Baltic has moved into getting FAA certification, so whenever the economics are work out, they'll probably do that. But you can travel here from connecting to from virtually any major city in Europe to Riga. And I mentioned also coming infrastructure as far as the high-speed rail. Additionally, the other factor was the sort of tagline, 2 to 3 handshakes, and you're talking to the president or the prime minister or to the economics minister, whoever you need to speak to, and also the access to academia and to R&D. I think we are very proud of how far our universities have come and how far they're going. The University of Latvia through Riga Technical University has a formal agreement with Massachusetts Institute of Technology to advance our technical programs in engineering and the sciences and biotech research. Joint ventures are being planned for R&D and other measures in hydrogen and the biotech fields. And we're very excited about that. There's a faculty exchange, so that would give you access to that talent pool as well, not just here in the United States, but also at MIT in Boston. And there's also ongoing programs with the University of Buffalo as far as business training and the Riga Business School. So I hope that answers it. Again, if whoever tendered that question has additional specific questions, we can illustrate that out and illustrate our competitiveness. And Raive or Toms, did you want to add anything to that? No, yes, I guess not. Okay. Other questions? Does anyone else have any additional questions they'd like to ask or go through? I think Leva just posted the evaluation questionnaire, so those that are not maybe involved in the Q&A could please fill that out. We always appreciate the feedback, good or bad. Please let us know. I mean, a lot of times the good feedback is always appreciated, but sometimes it's good to know where we maybe didn't do so good, and we can improve. Because we're always trying to make these at least relevant and at least interesting and possibly even entertaining if possible. So, any questions from the current participants? Okay, there's one question here. It's from Eha. She says, one area not mentioned in the film is film production. Latvia has recently built the largest studios in the Baltics, 15 hectares, as well as most incentive for production to 40%. That's correct. She's correct. We did not mention that. That was actually one of the focal points of Spotlight Latvia Los Angeles, was talking to the film industry. That's why it was held there. I believe actually Netflix is filming something in Latvia. I believe it's a series. I don't know what it's called. Maybe Toms does. I don't know. But thank you, Eha, for bringing that up. Yes, the Baltics also or Latvia specifically, is sort of really expanding its push to be a place for filming. We can provide all the various genres, whether it's the countryside, it looks like Michigan or upstate New York or someplace like that, to also to historic movies that maybe are take place in the Middle Ages or even World War I, World War II, all these kind of, we have very appropriate places where you can film and film on location, as well as the studio. And also we have a very active, because of the nature of the high skilled IT workforce there, just the back office editing and post-production of film, I think is a very fertile ground. And I think American firms would, or firms from anywhere in the world doing movies, would find the fact that the work is excellent, along with also it being at a very good price point compared to what they're spending in the United States or in Germany or elsewhere. So thank you for that comment and question. That's correct. We had not touched on that. So thank you very much. Were there any other questions or comments? Insights? I'm looking down here for any. Oh, one new message. Hold on, let me look. Oh, okay, that was the same question then. So okay. Then we have one other comment that was made. Paldies to Leah, and all great presentations. Thank you very much, from J.K. Scott. So thank you very much, sir, for the nice, kind comment. Are there any other questions? Okay, well, no. I guess we've ended a couple minutes early, so that's good. Again, I wanted to thank all of the presenters, Robert, Emil, Vladislav, Toms, Raivis. Really appreciate all your help. Also, Leva, for all the back office help. but I know that everybody was very busy. But I know, thank you very much for all of your assistance and for the rest of the LIA team. Thank you to all the participants for coming. I appreciate your time and listening to us. Again, if questions develop or ideas come in, please contact Torms or myself. You will be receiving a link via email, probably first of next week. It will be posted also on www.business.gov.lv shortly. So thank you again, and look forward to seeing you next time. And we're going to try to make these things a very regular thing to update you on the investment climate and programs that are available, as well as additional opportunities for investments and trade. Thank you very much. Take care.